You know, it's always that, always shorthanded. If we need 6 hours to do something, we'll try to do it in 4.5. If we need 10 people to do something, we got 8, you know, and then 3 walk out at break time.
The facts, dates, and events presented in this video are from the members' best recollection and may not be fully accurate. This video is intended for entertainment purposes only. Always consult with your local union about your rights and duties at your workplace. The opinions shared on this video are our own and do not necessarily represent my employer's positions, strategies, or opinions. All views shared are protected under the National Labor Relations Act.
What is going on, everybody? So today I got LB out of local 135 in Indiana and Jose out of local 952 in California. And we're going to be talking to part-timers. And stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to have other clips of part-timers talking about their experiences at their workplace. But I appreciate Jose and LB coming on for this episode. This is a long episode in the making. It's really hard to get everybody on the same time schedule, especially with Jose being California. And I gotta say here right now that I am far removed from the part-timers. I was a part-timer for 4 years, but that was 20 years ago. So I am bringing them on to help educate me on what's currently going on with the part-timers right now. We're hearing a lot of people upset. The ruckus is going around, especially with this contract. They're making some noise. So I want to know what is going on inside of this, the part-timers. Now, whenever I walk into the building as a driver, I always hear managers yelling from all over the building. And, you know, this isn't just in my building, correct?
Yeah, no, that's a thing that I learned pretty quickly when I started at UPS back in 1996. So I've been doing this almost 27 years, loading trucks at UPS. And yeah, it's always about production. It's always about pushing the numbers. And like today, I was talking to one of the newer part-timers about how the supervisors used to walk down a moving belt and would scream and yell at us, you know, to load our trucks and stuff, you know.
Now, because of the yelling and screaming, I'm sure that makes part-timers want to stick around for a long, long time, right? I kid. So, LB, I'm going to ask you, what's the average amount of time you see a part-timer working there?
You know, if somebody's there for a year, like that's high seniority. And I've been doing this for 27, like I said. We have people there that have been, you know, there's, you know, 10, 15 years or something like that. But yeah, it's not uncommon for folks working like, you know, 6 months to a year and they're done. We lost 2 people today. They were just so worn out by the, you know, pieces per hour, that production that they were pushing and like, and what they were being asked to do. And at break time, one of them, I think, asked to leave and the other one just punched out and left with them. So it's like, okay, where those people go, you know? It's like, wow, awesome.
So now we're going to talk about the safety aspect of things. So Jose, in California, are things any different?
No, they're the same. Because I see the Twilight, that's my shift, and I work in small sort, and I see there's outbound belts where across from small sort. So you see the packages falling everywhere, and then if you're a new hire, you're just trying to press, you're trying to keep a job if you want to have a career in UPS. So they're like loading as fast as they can. And next thing you know, it's the most common injury for Twilight, which is lip turning and lowering. Because they throw off their back and you know, it sucks and they're done. Like I just heard about a member that probably had between maybe 4 to 6 months, but she tore her ACL unloading a package car. Don't be telling us about safety when there's safety egress everywhere and you don't do nothing about it because you just want to push the numbers, try to get down as fast as you can. The only worst injury I ever heard about, why I smelled it, was a Halster, what we call it out here in my hub, mule shifter. He let I guess he had it in neutral, and the tire just kept on spinning. For some reason, he put like his foot got caught, and that's when the tire started going and chopped off his toes. And you could smell it. It just smelled like like a barbecue, like a carne asada. It's just like, what's that smell? Then you find out like what happened. Like, oh, you know, it it's just
The other thing I wanted to touch on was the MRA. The market rate adjustment that during COVID they started paying the part-timers more money. It was outside the contract, and then they took it away. And pretty much every building I've been to, people have been complaining about it like crazy. LB, do you want to elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, actually, because the only reason people in my building complained about it because I told them, hey, did you know in these other places, people are getting $20-something an hour to start, and the people in my building who were hired off the street making $15.50, we never got a market rate adjustment. So through COVID and everything, $15.50, and we were shorthanded, habitually shorthanded. And they just had all sorts of excuses right and left why they couldn't hire more people, until peak came. And then suddenly they figured out, I was told like, oh, they just weren't advertising right. And I'm like, I don't know how you run a multi-billion-dollar company and have that sort of, like, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining, right? It's like, well, how come you couldn't hire these people? It's always shorthanded. If we need 6 hours to do something, we'll try to do it in 4.5. If we need 10 people to do something, we got 8, and then 3 walk out at break time. So, it's just, I mean, don't get me wrong. I actually love working at UPS. Otherwise I wouldn't do it. I have a sense of satisfaction. The pay is excellent. The benefits are excellent. But it's very frustrating dealing with this situation, and it gets old, and I'm just like, I can only do so much.
I'm going to throw this to you, Jose. This next contract, we got a big contract coming up. What would you like to see in this upcoming contract?
I would like to see an equitable, livable, and dignified contract, especially for part-timers that had been overlooked since 1983. The pay's only gone up $750 in 40 years. Pay's gone up. So I'm in this organization called, very, very, very grassroots, called Teamsters Mobilize, and we're pushing 25 starting pay and base pay with 75 cents attached for every year's service, and then a 5% wage increase. I mean, that's justifiable because in 2020, in the COVID years, LB, David, you saw too, there was packages everywhere. I mean, the hub was just a big old box of packages because there was just packages everywhere. E-rigs outside, inside, just it was a whole mess. And I remember working 12-hour days Monday through Friday, like 8 on Saturday and 6 on Sunday for I think almost 2 months, just to catch up because it was just so much work. It was so much work, and UPS made billions off our back during that time.
So with all this being said, is there any part-time groups, Facebook groups or anything like that people can get involved in, Jose?
Yes, there's a teamstermobilize.com. If you go on there, we're trying to organize and mobilize the part-timers because whatever you want to think of it, this contract is for the part-timers, in my estimation, because we've been overlooked for so long. We make this corporation billions and billions of dollars. It's our time to stand up, to be heard, and to vote, what's best for us. So if you want to go on teamstermobilize.com, you could check us out there. There's we have a Twitter, Teamster Mobilize as well. So you could check us out there on Twitter as well. And there's a couple of petitions floating out. One it's for what we call 25, 75, and 5. $25 starting and base pay, 75 cents for every year of service, and 5% wage increase starting the second year of the contract.
So I appreciate you two for coming on. Stick around. We got more videos coming up after this.
Hello, my name is Ryan Boyd. I'm a longtime part-timer at the UPS Philadelphia Air Hub facility. I think there's pros and cons to being part-time. The biggest pro is you get to go home and have time left in your day to do other stuff. and there's a real value to that. But I think that in talking to part-timers, surveying them in the lead up to this contract and trying to feel out what their top priorities are, obviously it's income, but I think the key to that for most of them is minimum guaranteed hours. If you stay at UPS long enough, your wage rate will go up, but the ability of UPS to control, how many hours part-timers get from one week to the next or one day to the next is something that leads to a lot of unpredictability in part-timers' lives. And I think that they would like to see a limit placed on that. Limiting UPS's ability to hold part-timers indefinitely, because, every part-timer typically needs a second job, and oftentimes UPS, will try to hold them past the point that they're, accustomed to staying, whether they have another job or childcare responsibilities or whatever it may be. The only other thing I would mention is the way the market rate adjustments have affected the entry-level part-timers at UPS since the pandemic. We don't really have market rate adjustment language in the master agreement, and certainly not in our supplemental. So UPS has been able to kind of pick and choose who gets what rates when, and basically it's acting like split wages, and UPS shouldn't have that kind of control. I mean, if they're gonna raise rates above the minimum in the contract, then it should be uniform across whatever classification that is. So those are the points that I would hit on, that, not just from my perspective, but I think many part-timers that I've spoken to feel that that's kind of the top issues for them right now. Thank you.
Hi, Roswell Hub. My name is Jonathan. E-rig driver, Teamster with Local 104, just a regular hub rat, regular member. Part of my frustrations in the hub, or one thing I don't like seeing at hubs, they'll have a safety goal where if you get it, you get like a grill out thing, or we'll get pizza or whatever. And about it, for me personally, that sees it as demeaning, working around people that can barely afford to eat in the first place. I don't like seeing basic human necessities be treated as some type of reward for labor. Another thing that frustrates me in the hub, and a lot of new part-timers that come in that haven't reached their probation, listen really closely to how the supervisors talk to them, because if you really just listen or have been in the hub, you'll probably hear yelling all the way across from, probably from your black belt all the way to whatever your yellow belt is. Yell at them about their PPH. And a lot of part-timers, young cats, have a lot of them have social anxiety or don't have people to talk to. So, you got this soup yelling at you for PPH, and you have this kid freezing up and almost shaking and crying like he doesn't know what to do. So, yeah, I mean, as far as contract language goes, tie it all in. I'd like to see any type of food cannot be dangled. Raise that pay.
Hi everybody, my name is Katie Elliott, and I'm a preloader out of the Roswell Hub. And the first thing that came to mind for me when David asked me to take part in this was our relief periods. This past peak season in particular, they assigned me to the village, and we were coming in during the height of peak season. We would start at 12:10 a.m. roughly. We would get our break at about the 3-hour mark, and then it took me filing grievances literally every day for a month before they finally started giving us our second 10-minute break, which we are entitled to according to my supplement, after we hit the 6th hour in a single shift. I really wish it would be changed to just say that we get a break after every 3 hours worked. Because although this is primarily an issue during peak season, there's also been a few times where something will be just messed up, something that has nothing to do with the loaders or unloaders or any of us, but there's a problem with the belts or the computers or whatever, something is messed up, and they like to give us our break at exactly the 1 hour mark, and then we'll do like the remaining 75% of our shift without a break. And I personally am not a fan of that. I feel like if they had to do it every 3 hours, they could still give us a break if something was screwed up, if they wanted to just stop everything and try to figure it out and get it fixed. But then they would also have to give us another one 3 hours from whenever they gave us that first break. So yeah, just having a break every 3 hours instead of just what mine says now is after the first hour, but before the end of the third hour. Thanks.